Close your eyes and listen carefully. The room around you is quiet, the light is dim, and the air feels a little colder than usual. Outside, somewhere far away, the wind whispers through the trees. You can't tell if it's just the breeze or something older, something that remembers. Tonight is not an ordinary night. Tonight is Halloween, the night when history breathes again, when old beliefs awaken, and the line between the living and the dead fades into a thin silver mist. Thousands of years ago, long before there were pumpkins, costumes, or candies, there was a people known as the Celts. They lived close to the earth, to the stars, and to the turning of the seasons. To them, Halloween was not a celebration of fright, but a moment of crossing, a time when one year ended and another began, and when the spirits of the departed could walk among the living. They called it Samhain. On the last night of October, when the air grew cold and the sun slipped away early, the Celts would extinguish every fire in their homes. The whole village would fall into darkness. Then, under a pale moon, they would gather on a high hill, carrying bundles of wood and herbs, following the voice of their druids, the ancient priests dressed in white robes, their hands filled with oak leaves and mistletoe. The druids would raise their arms toward the sky and chant words carried away by the wind, summoning blessings for the living and peace for the dead. Then the great fire would be lit. The bonfire burned bright against the endless night. Animal bones crackled and sparked as they burned, sending smoke toward the heavens. The Celts believed that the smoke helped guide spirits safely back to their world. Around the fire, people danced, painted their faces with soot to disguise themselves from wandering souls, and wore masks so that no spirit could recognize them as human. It was the birth of disguise, the first whisper of what we now call a costume. But to them, it was survival. They feared that if the spirits knew who they were, they might follow them home or steal the warmth from their hearts. So they blended into the night, becoming shadows among shadows. As the flames flickered and the drums echoed through the valley, the villagers prayed that the spirits would pass gently and that the winter would be kind. Centuries passed, and the world changed. The old gods grew quiet, and a new faith swept across the lands: Christianity. The church bells replaced the druid chants, and the cross replaced the circle of stones. The priests looked upon Samhain with suspicion. To them, it was a night of devils, a remnant of pagan darkness. So they tried to change it. The church declared a new holy day, All Saints' Day, a day to honor every saint and every pure soul that had reached heaven. It was to be celebrated on November 1st. The night before became known as All Hallows' Eve, and over time, the words blended, softened, and became Halloween. But old traditions rarely die. They simply wear new faces. Even as the church tried to cleanse the night of its mystery, people still lit candles in their windows and left food on their doorsteps for wandering spirits. They still wore masks, not out of rebellion, but out of remembrance. Halloween became a strange mix of holiness and fear, part prayer, part superstition, part longing. It was not about evil, it was about memory, the living honoring the dead, whispering through centuries that they were not forgotten. Then, in the 19th century, the world shifted again. A great famine swept through Ireland. Thousands of families left their homeland, carrying their few possessions and their stories, across the ocean to America. Among those stories was one about a man named Stingy Jack. Jack was a clever trickster who once trapped the devil himself. He carved a cross into a tree so that the devil couldn't come down, and made him promise never to claim his soul. But when Jack finally died, heaven refused him for his deceit, and hell could not take him because of the devil's vow. So Jack was doomed to wander the earth forever, with only a single ember of hellfire to light his way. He placed the ember inside a hollowed-out turnip and walked the dark roads of the world. People began to call him Jack of the Lantern, Jack-o'-lantern. When Irish families reached America, they found turnips scarce, but pumpkins plentiful. They carved faces into pumpkins instead, placing candles inside to keep Jack and other restless spirits away. The soft glow of those pumpkins soon became the signature of Halloween, the flickering light of the past living on in the present. As decades turned into centuries, Halloween transformed again. In small American towns, children began wearing costumes and knocking on doors, calling out trick or treat. The night of spirits became a night of laughter. The fires of Samhain became the lanterns of porches. The old fear became a gentle thrill, a way to play with shadows instead of running from them. And then came the world of movies and music, of masks and monsters painted in bright colors. Hollywood turned Halloween into art. Fear became entertainment. Stories of witches and haunted houses filled theaters and living rooms. Yet beneath all the fun, a quiet heartbeat remained, the same rhythm that pulsed in Celtic bonfires and church hymns. It was the heartbeat of remembrance. Because deep down, Halloween has always been about connection between life and death, between past and present, between what we see and what we only feel. It reminds us that light and darkness are never truly separate. They live inside us both. Now imagine yourself walking through a quiet street on a Halloween night. Pumpkins glow softly on doorsteps. The air smells of candles and cold leaves. Children's laughter echoes faintly in the distance, and somewhere, an old wind stirs through the trees. You pause for a moment, close your eyes, and it feels as if time itself is holding its breath. For just one heartbeat, the veil between worlds grows thin. You can almost feel them. The ones who came before, the ones who watched the fire dance in ancient hills, the ones who whispered prayers into the smoke. They are still here, walking beside you, smiling quietly through the mist. Halloween is not just a night of fright or fun. It is a night of remembering, of understanding that every ending is just another beginning, and every shadow holds a flicker of light. It began as Samhain, became All Hallows Eve, and now shines as Halloween, a single thread woven through thousands of years, connecting fear, faith, and wonder. So now let the night grow still. Let your breathing slow. The candles flicker low, the air grows calm, and somewhere far away, the same ancient melody hums, the tune that once danced with the fires of Samhain. Sleep now. Let the warmth of your blanket become the glow of the bonfire. Let your dreams carry you through the mist of time, and if you listen very closely, you might still hear them. The voices of history, whispering softly, "Happy Halloween."